Ladies and also those brave gentlemen who have been with us making the new world. So I thank you very much for your very active representation here, because I was just telling to my colleagues here next to me that this looks much better than in the United Nations. Because when we think that how long time you have been sitting and only a little bit going to the restrooms or having the coffee, that looks wonderful. I do want to see that next General Assembly in UN in New York, it looks like this. Thank you. So it's really true what Madam Chair said, that these panels are very much interlinked, so that these teams are knitted together. But what I would like to say is that it's good to remember, even we see a lot of similarities, that there are also the different traditions. We have different traditions, different gender stereotypes in different countries of the world. But what I would like to remind you and encourage you is that these models have made by us, by people, and we can also change them if we see that they are unfair. So we have recently heard a lot of encouraging experiences, the stories of success. And I feel very humble with that in a way, because Finland was, in a way, counted first or second in the world for the women's emancipation. New Zealand was the first one to give the right to vote, and Finland was the first one to give both the right to vote and to candidate in the elections. So it's a very, very long march we have done, almost 100 years. And now we see the very fast development in different parts of the world. And I hope that it will encourage us, all of us. So anyway, when we say that we should be the change we want to see in the world, so of course we have our own frames for that. Democracy, human rights, rule of law and good governance. These different parts of the system each affect the other parts, but also for the position of the women. In a political democracy, both the emancipation of women and also the electoral system are important factors. You have a different kind of system for elections, and working together with an interparliamentary union, IPU, we have a possibility to learn more how to manage in different systems. For instance, Sweden and Norway are good examples of advancing gender equality rapidly in the so-called list system, where you just vote for the party or the list of the party. Then, for instance, in Finland, we have a different system. Even the candidates of the same political party are in the same list, but the voters will choose whether I will vote that woman or that gentleman, and then the election system is different. So I hope that we can give good advice in the future for different kind of the countries. So the nomination of the candidates is very important, but an equal attention needs to be paid to the election campaign itself. And so what we have noticed is that the women's campaign budget are regularly smaller than those of men. And of course, this affects the portraying the candidate's visibility. Some might ask that whether she is really serious. I don't see her picture anywhere. And then you have to say that, my dear sister, it's a question of money. We have to raise the funds in order to make her visible. And we have also to find the other ways how we can say that she is seriously being a change we want to see. So I will make also the request, the challenge to our dear friends in the EU Parliament, because the European Union Parliament is in next spring, and I would love to see that the female candidates are very visible, so that you can make also those records. So the second part what I will say after the political and electoral system is the gender equality in society. So almost every one of you have underlined the importance of education, and I will also join to the party. So in my own country, the girls and boys have a compulsory and free education up to the age of 16, and also the secondary and tertiary education is free of charge for all. And what I see is important when we think about this possibility is that we, for instance, we provide a free lunch, warm lunch for all children, so nobody needs to stay home to cook. And we know also that no child is hungry at school. So we can find ways how we can guarantee that little boys and girls can just concentrate in their studies. So what are the other things? Municipalities, the local authorities are required by law in my country to provide daycare for all children below school age so that both parents can take up the full-time jobs if they so want. But also that if you are pregnant, you are protected for your pregnancy and you can get also freedom from your work after the child has been born. But also the fathers can take part of that. And that's something very necessary to tell that the baby needs both a mother and a father, and you can just in dynamics of your family to think how to do it. So, and I will say very shortly, I have noticed it's not only whether we want to be a change like that, what we want to see in the society, but also that today the sons are better than their fathers, and the fathers are better than their grandfathers. So I do believe that also adult people can become better. So healthcare is, of course, important for every one of us. And then we have been spoken already the employment rate, which is very important for both men and women, because that's the dignity of the adult people, that he or she can do something what is respected by the other, also so that you can get your bread, your living on that. So I think so that we have been just a little bit said here that what it means that the women will be part of the labor force. So today, in my own country, if I take an example, both the women and men are currently about the 68% of employment rate. And so I think that at least as such kind of the small nation like ours, only a little more than 5 million, couldn't be competitive if we couldn't get both the men and women to work. So I think that we can say that investing in a woman, so it's also a smart investment. It's a human rights issue, but it's also a smart investment. The World Economic Forum ranks Finland as the third most competitive economy in the world, and with this small amount of the population, and no gas, no oil, and very little minerals, I think that you can say that investing in people is one of the ways. When I speak about Finland, it's very much also speaking about the Nordic sisters. Nordic sisters are Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland. And if you compare the sisters, they have a lot of similarities. What I want to say that it will be the change, I do believe, what you want to see also in your own country. We have already noticed, I have mentioned already this smart investment, but I could say also that there are other indexes what you can use. For instance, the ranking of the happiness, so-called happiness in the world, is also a good one. If we say which countries are least corrupted countries of the world, rank number first is Denmark, and we others are coming just behind that. So, I mean, it is a lot of true also according to the statistics what the ladies before in the previous panel said. So it's not just the feeling, but it's also the facts you can see in statistics. What I would hope very sincerely is that all those who are expert in statistics would make more and more data to see that this is also the evidence that if we invest in development, so it will help. So I think that the importance of women to the contents of politics is very important. But also it's very important to see that the families are behind. The families are those where you learn your first years, you see the role models. There you have to be also the change you want to see. And rights and duties are not always being shared equally in the family. In many cases, the responsibilities are more for women and rights for the man. But there are, of course, different families. And we should, that's why, to combine work outside of home and family affairs so that women could be more active outside of family, but also so that men could have more role in the family, not only to be the breadwinners. So, and I would encourage also men, because I think that there's no reason to hesitate to participate more in caring work in the family. You are not losing your masculinity, but your children will learn that both the mother and father are important. So, all over the world, of course, we know that there are our common global challenges. We spoke a little bit about this before this meeting here, and we thought that we can see the challenges in every country. No country is perfect, but we have also our common challenges. Many of us, we were at the Rio conference held in 2012, and we unanimously agreed once again that the goals of sustainable development cannot be reached without the full participation of women and men, but still underlying the women, because that's the missing part of the human capital. The role of the women in providing food and water in the developing countries is often forgotten even in statistics. It should be taken into account better in both agriculture and also in food security. This could lead to new, more sustainable results. The role of women in deciding on consumption is a rising theme all around the world. They count that we women make 80% of the daily shopping of the households in OECD countries, and I think it's similar in the other countries too. So women are also a majority in the different sectors like schools, daycare care centers, elderly homes, hospitalities, and so on, where they can be also those gate openers for more sustainable development. So we have seen already the lovely faces of Malala. And I think that similar things have happened also in other countries. We should be the first ones to defend, to protect. Because these kind of the young, brave women, they have given more than what should be human. So, but we have still more other things to do. Sexual rights, for instance, are still difficult to advance. This is an issue that can be surrounded by fear, as a difference in such fundamental issues as gender identity or sexual orientation, or even how to choose your own spouse. So these things will be quite soon in our United Nations agenda. These are also the reason why I accepted to co-chair the high-level task force for the International Conference on Population and Development, which prepares so-called ICPD beyond 2014. And Wanda, can you raise your hand? So she is from Poland and also with us in the same group. And I think, of course, that the population growth on our planet is linked to sexual and reproductive health and rights. We are exceeded a population of 7 billion, and during the next 30 years, the population will grow further up to the 8 or 9 or even more billions. At the same time, some countries have a diminishing population, which could be changed by having a better system of combining work and family life. I will say only that the dreams of boys and girls are very decent. very decent, and if they can fulfill their dreams, I think so that also the population growth plus sustainable development will be succeeding. So we have had a lot of success stories, dear chairpersons, and I think that they are worthy of our respect. And it has demanded a lot of commitment and even sacrifices. But how to go further, I hope that we can think here together. And I think so that we should gather our experiences, statistics, and the stories of success, but also the stories of failure, because then we could give a certain kind of the handbook that people could see that whether it could be useful for their own campaigns, for their own challenges. So ICD plus 20, Beijing plus 20, and post-2015 are just at the door. So we are just in the right timing here, but we have to work very hard. I encourage you to continue in the evening, in the nights, tomorrow morning with the coffee, and then to the daytime. Let's be strong. Thank you.